Well, I feel like I've had some sort of connection, really, to Declaration since it started, even though I haven't been here since it started. So I've known John since I was a kid. He used to come and tour and sing at my church in Madisonville when I was a kid. Started going to 220 when I was a student there, the summer camp. And so I've always been connected, like in my heart, to the vision of 220, which turned into part of the vision for Declaration. And so I've always loved that. And so I've had a deep connection with them for a really long time. The first time I heard about setting the table was probably pretty soon after I got to the church. And so then I decided that it would be, if I wanted to come and be a part of the church, I didn't want to just be a part of the church, but I really wanted to partner with the vision, because I really feel like that's what the Lord brought me to, was the vision and the heart of Declaration. And so I didn't want to just be a participant. So I decided to just look into it. I went online and I watched all of the Setting the Table sermons in some of my free time to see really what this vision was that they were setting up for the church. So my step of obedience initially, for Setting the Table specifically, was, so after I did all of the research, I wanted to partner with the church. And so I sat down with the Lord and I was like, okay, like what is my commitment? What is my journey and generosity to join in the church and their vision and what they're doing? And so for me, there was this conversation with the Lord about how do I jump in, and I negotiated with the Lord a lot. Because for me, monetarily, within generosity, I was like, man, God, that's a lot of money coming out of my account that I'm not used to. And I feel like that maybe I won't have enough, if this is continually coming out of my bank account, I might not have enough. And so I was getting really stuck on the numbers, and I was negotiating with God about, well, what if basically I'm reduced in hours and I have this different job, what's gonna happen then? I don't wanna make a commitment that I might not be able to fulfill. And I got really tripped up in the numbers. And so I negotiated for a while, and then I had this moment, a couple of different moments that tied together in talking with him, and I was reminded of an Old Testament scripture where the Lord told the Israelites to bring the full tithe back to the house of God. They had withheld from him, and I realized that I've spent many years withholding from God, probably from, just fear that I wouldn't be okay monetarily. I wanted to be able to take care of myself. And so the only way I knew to do that was to save money and be in control of my money. Just because my circumstance changed by having reduced hours, it doesn't mean that what I feel like the Lord and I talked about, or the commitment that I made, it doesn't mean that changed, right? When I made that with the Lord, he knew that I was gonna have reduced hours, or he knew, what my actual situation was gonna look like. So just because my circumstance changed doesn't mean that the commitment and the word that I got from him did. But I wanna stay committed to what I said, because that means I also believe that I heard the Lord right. That means that I also believe that the Lord is going to take care of me. Because again, if he knows all, which he does, then when he and I made that commitment together, he knew that my circumstance would change. But he still told me something in that moment, even though I didn't know my circumstance would change. It's a way of keeping my promise. It's a way of saying, I trust you And I want to walk that out, truly walk that out, to say I trust you and I don't need to be in control. So here's an area of my life that I want to submit to you. And so for all of those things to be true, I have to finish strong, even though my circumstances changed.